seeing monsters out your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. Cause I got you like you got me. When the earth shakes, when the bombs scream until...
Hello everyone and welcome to this ACC Championship. We have got the GT3 GT World Challenge Championship here at Donington Park. So we are in qualifying at the moment. We've had just over 3 minutes 40 seconds worth of qualifying. It's a 15-minute qualifying session, and then we'll be going to the race. Obviously, qualifying will determine their grid. We've got 2 times in at the moment. Ron has posted a 128.9. It's a great start for Ron. Provisional pole. And we've got Mr. C. And just to say that, Gunnar Gamble has gone one better with a 128.4. So a great start there. We've had 3 times in at the moment, and we'll just flick through some of the drivers. So this is Gunnar Gamble coming through. Hopefully you can see my screen and what I'm watching. But we'll just try and flick through as people go through, as Bubbles has just set the fastest lap of qualifying so far, 127.9. That's a great starting time. So obviously we'll have a few laps where drivers are getting used to the track conditions, getting their tyres up to temperature, and putting some decent lap times. Normally, in real life, as it were, you have 1 quick lap time to then 1 slow lap time to 1 quick lap time. But it seems like in sim racing, everyone just goes for it, which is great to see. So, as we said, we've got a few times coming through. We've got a few people approaching the start-finish line. So, for instance, we see the Wall here coming near to the start-finish line. Hopefully putting a good time in with the Porsche. Yellow flags are out. Someone's obviously off the track. Over the start-finish line. See how he goes. When the timing screen comes up, we'll see what happens. Hasn't come up as yet, but I'm sure it'll come over very, very shortly. We've got Gunnar Gamble just crossing the start-finish line as well. So again, that'll be another one updating. We've got a long line of cars coming through. There's the 997 car, which is Ron, who's just let through the number 9 car, which is Rob Noxious, and we'll just see Rob as he comes up to the final corner here in his Ferrari. Just to run you through the standings so far, as we are watching this qualifying session. Just 9 minutes remaining for qualifying, but the standings for the championship so far after 2 rounds. So Ron in his Lexus is the man to beat at the moment on 95 championship points. Is currently leading this championship. Finished 3rd at Silverstone last weekend, and came 1st P1 at Brands Hatch in round 1. So the man to beat at the moment, we've got Normac in 2, Nafbit in 3, Offcut in 4, Kenny in 5, Bubbles in 6, Gunnar Gamble in 7, Windsor in 8, Beast in 9, W in 10, Spider-Man in 11, Mr. CJ in 12, Mazda 917 in 13, Jinx in 14, Rob Noxious in 15, Yaroslav in 16, Awesome Gumball in 17, Terov, I believe that's how you say it, in 18, Nix in 19, and Eduardo in 20. Those bottom few haven't actually scored any points, but I'm sure we're going to have a good race here today, as we see a few more times have been posted. So Bubbles still leading the way in the Ferrari, posting 127.9. That's the time to beat, as it were. Very much the time to beat, and as we can see here I've got on my screen, we can see the map. We can see the cars coming round. Bubbles, he's got a lot of clear track in front of him, so should hopefully be able to put a good time in here. It's got a nice big hairpin to the right coming up, which will be interesting to see how he goes. Hopefully stays wide here to the left. Cuts in nice and tight, great line there. Superb lines coming through. Currently in 6th. Did not finish in round 1, did Bubbles, but was P1 in round 2. So again, could quite easily be the person to beat here. 2 corners left. For him, we'll see what his time is. It's looking smooth so far. Let's see if he can better his time. So the big right hand hairpin here, second to last corner. Good exit there. Gets on the throttle. Will approach the this final bend here. Big left hairpin. Get nice and smooth on the throttle. Great line there. Superb driving, and let's see how he goes. Has he better that time? Like I said, it's a little bit slow. Clearly not if it's not changed. So as he comes round, excellent bit of driving. So we've still got a couple of others out on track who are yet to post a time. The 25 car off-cut is coming round to post his first lap time. Let's see what result he gets here and where he jumps up to. So we've got a new leader, Ron, the 997 car in Lexus, your championship leader at the moment, going on provisional pole with a 127.8. So that's a great first time coming through there from Ron. It's beating Bubbles. Obviously those two will be at the front of the grid. With just 5 minutes remaining of qualifying. So Ron on provisional pole. Bubbles in 2, Gonna Gamble in 3, Kenny in 4 as it stands at the moment. We've still got plenty of time for good lap times to come in. You know, you're looking at potentially 3 laps coming through. So hopefully we'll see some more coming through. So this is, we're watching Beast at the moment. He's on his out lap. He's just warming up his tyres, getting ready to go for a quick lap next. So as we see the number 9 car, Rob Noxious started a fast lap here as he's coming through, as he's approaching the 13 car of Mr. CJ who's just behind, sorry, just in front of him. Just watching Rob Noxious as he does a couple of first couple of turns here. See, off cut. The time has come through. Couldn't better. He's in 5, P5 as it stands at the moment. As we're watching Rob Noxious catching the 13 car of Mr. CJ as well. So he's obviously having a good time going here. And we'll see how he gets on as he comes round. So Donington Park. We've got the 15-minute qualifying. Just got 3 minutes left of that, and then the race time. The sim will be set for 5 PM on a Sunday evening, so just an hour and a half different to what we are now, which would be good to see. The weather looks quite nice there in the UK at this moment in time, as we see Rob Noxious coming through. 13 car, Mr. CJ, probably not going to post a better time. He's had a slow lap, but Rob Noxious coming through. Let's see if he can better his positioning. He's had a good lap so far. Took out the corner a little bit slower than normal, so he can get a wide exit, but we'll see how he goes when the timing screen updates for us. So just have a quick look at the different times that we've got at the moment. So Ron is your leader as we speak. He's got the purple sectors for sector 2 and 3. The purple meaning the fastest sector in this session so far. So that's what the purple means. Bubbles has got sector 1 in his grasp, but the overall leader, Ron, in his Lexus, leading the way. So that's how we start. We've got 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes, so these guys probably just going to have a couple more laps to go. If they're on a lap at the moment, I'm going to have to go for a... those approaching the start-finish line will have to go some. They'll probably just about get 2 laps in, potentially. So I know certainly as we're watching Rob Noxious and Mr. CJ coming over the start-finish line to start the final quick lap here. So he'll have to go some now. Final laps starting now for some. We've got he's just stopped and returned to the pits. So we've got a couple of just returned to the pits. That's what they see there. So if he's in the pits, we'll go and watch someone else. Number 9 car. Let's go pick on Rob Noxious as he's coming around for a final quick lap. 67 car. Seems to be going backwards and having a few issues there. So it must have been Kenny's taking a spin. Nice green livery there on his Ferrari, looking very, very slick. So into the final minute of qualifying. We'll see if people want to better their time. We've got Ron leading the way out in front. 1:27.8 is the time to beat, and we'll see if anyone can beat that. We're looking at Bubbles coming around the final bend here. So hopefully he can get round. Comes wide. Is he just inside? I'm not sure that's going to be a quickest time there. It was a good lap, but I'm not sure that would be a fastest lap. But he's obviously got this 1 lap to go. Hopefully he can better his time. Let's see how he goes. So it's time to finish off. It seems like most people are happy with their positions. Looks like Eduardo's had a bit of an incident. Not sure what's going on there. He's pulled off to the side, so he'll return to the pits. Enough bit is complete. We've got a few others. If you're watching the map and you see them going yellow, that means they're just returning to the pits. 34 car coming through now, so that'd be the wall. Has he gone any better? Don't believe so. We'll get the final timings coming up here. Jinx coming round the final bend, along with the 94 car behind him. 194 car, sorry, which is W. So we'll just watch Jinx as he comes through. Can't better the time. So that's your lineup to start this race. So we've got Ron in P1, Bubbles in P2, Gunnar Gamble P3, Offcut P4, Kenny P5, The Wall P6, Mr. CJ 7, Rob Noxious 8, Nafbit 9, Beast 10, Jinx 11, Normac 12, W 13, and Eduardo in 14. That's the lineup for today's race. So, as mentioned previously, if you joined us yesterday for the PC version, this is the PS4 version. So, we have got it's going to be an interesting race, Donington Park in the UK. So, we have got the race coming up in just under 3 minutes. So, just to tell you a little bit about this race, the duration is 60 minutes. One mandatory pit stop. So pit stop time is 30 seconds in total. So they'll have to stop for 30 seconds. And there is a pit window. So 20-minute pit window in the middle sector of this race. So from minute 20, or as you'll see the countdown clock, it will say minute 40. So 40 minutes to go. The pit window will open. And it will close at minute 40, with so 20 minutes to go. So between that clock, you'll see the clock at the top. 40 minutes left. The pit window will open. When it says 20 minutes left, the pit window will close. All drivers, sorry, must have pitted in that time. So they all have to pit in that time. So it's important there. to make sure your strategy is right. So you pit at a suitable time for you. Obviously, you've got to have to look at people around you and really understand when they're going to be pitting. So, as you can see on your screen at the moment, they have a little number 1 next to their numbers, and that pretty much tells you if they've pitted or not. So it's 1 mandatory pit stop. Obviously, any damage caused throughout the race that needs fixing doesn't count as a mandatory pit stop unless you take it in that mandatory pit stop time. So we are just over a minute away from starting this race. Drivers making their final adjustments to the cars. They may be lowering or raising their suspensions, tinkering with any sort of setups that they've been thinking of. Can really vary depending on weather conditions. It can vary on downforce, moving around the track, etc. So a lot of things to factor in, and obviously your competition as well, whether you want to be fast around the corners or on the straight. So drivers getting prepared and ready. We'll have a formation lap, so 1 lap
30 seconds.
around 30 seconds warning mark up, so 30 seconds we start our formation lap. We
20 seconds.
1 lap, and then we'll have green lights. So they're supposed to stay in double file, especially towards the
10
end.
seconds.
So we've got the Lexus out in front and a Ferrari on the front of the grid as well. We've got Lamborghinis, 1 Lamborghini, we've got 1 Porsche, a lot of Ferraris, we've got a couple of Aston Martins, a Bentley, and a McLaren and a Nissan. So the formation lap has started. So the drivers are just moving off. So see here, it seems like my screen has frozen. Amazing, perfect. So we'll just have to watch Jinx as he comes around. We've got. I'm just watching Jinx's car. He's P11. We will be being able to see a few other cars as we go along, but obviously at the moment we're stuck with Jinxie in his Bentley, looking pretty slick there. There's a fantastic liveries on some of these cars as well. It's great to see the different colours, the array of colours. Obviously they've got their sponsorship on there. Jinxie's Bentley looking very slick, the white and black livery looking very nice indeed. I do like a Bentley myself. I wish I had the money to afford one, but hey, there we go, that's another story. The Aston Martin just behind him, again, that's Normac, again looking very nice in the blue, grey and green livery. As you can see there, Aston Martin racing on the back there. So just coming around to complete this formation lap, and then we will be underway. As you can see at the top, that 1 hour marker. We'll start ticking down where it says race, those 2 red markers next to them will go green. The time will start ticking and we will be underway. So just preparing to get going. Coming round the final couple of bends. A sharp right. Get side by side, making sure that they are in the correct positions. You don't want to get a drive-through penalty to start off with. They're just waiting. Come around this final left-hand bend, and we'll go green any moment. Slowing down. And green light, and we are away. So we are away from this race, and it's a good start here. We're just going to drop back so we can see other people as we go. So, Ron out in front is leading the way. And getting a great start there, Ron. He's already put a little bit of gap between him and himself and Bubbles, which is good to see. So, already got nearly a half a second gap, which is a great start to the race. So, as we see the cars coming past, so great start by Ron. Superb bit of driving to get himself underway. Great to see. Bubbles catching back up quite quickly though, so it's not going to be an easy start to this race. It's an hour-long race, so obviously we've still got 59 minutes of this race to go on this first lap as we're coming through. So timings are coming through, so it's 0.35 seconds the gap. So 300 a second between 1 and 2 at the moment. Bubbles really close behind. Put some good pressure on him. Gunnar Gamble taking the inside line. That may be an interesting challenge there. So we'll just have a little look at Gunnar Gamble as he's coming through. Come back over the start-finish line. To complete lap 1 of this race. So the pit lane is now open from race control. Obviously, that's not going to be the pit window. That's not quite open just yet. Just looking down the time machine, this off-cut is slipping away from Gunnar Gamble. Gunnar Gamble's getting some good distance between the two of them. It's good to see. Nice and close up the front though. Bubbles, 200ths of a second. He's catching. So any minute now, there could be some real serious pressure on the leaders here. So let's have a look. Let's see if Bubbles can get this done. Nice quick lap he's doing here. Putting some great pressure on Ron at the top of the order. Again, he's got to be thinking that he's quite happy to sit behind the leader at this stage. Obviously, strategy comes into play when we're talking about pitting. So big right-hand hairpin on the power and then into the braking zone for the left-hand hairpin. Bubbles coming wide. Is he going to try and cut back? He's getting some good speed here. I just had to check up there. Had to brake it. That's going to lose him a little bit of time as we come over the start-finish line. Gonna gamble right on the back of Bubbles. Get some good pressure going on there. So everyone behaving themselves like we like to see some nice clean racing. The gap across the rest of the field starting to spread out. So there's a little bit of distance coming through between Nafbit and Kenny as they approach, just get into sector 2 as we speak. So back of the field, looking down, W is getting quite close down to the back of Mr. CJ. Hundredths of a second in that one, so that's W there. Nice and close, putting some real pressure on. And you know, as we found yesterday with the PC version, it's important to put the pressure on, but not risk too much in the early stages of this race. Obviously, this is a nice clean race so far, which is good to see. But with the pressure being put on, any mistakes could happen at any point. So they're starting to spread out a little bit as the wall is very close. As you see here, the wall Normac seems going up the inside of the wall. It's going to have the line. Wall's going to have the inside corner for this left-hand bend here. So as we watch him here, side by side as we come through, Normac has to go really wide to get through. The wall's going to have the power on early doors, but Normac's going to have the next line on the right-hander. So has he got that job done? Looks like he has. So Normac gets past the wall. So it looks like there's a little bit of damage on the back of the wall and the front of Rob Noxious, as Rob Noxious comes through as well. I think there may be an issue there for the wall. It seems to be dropping back a little bit as Normat gets sideways through that corner there. Yeah, there is a little bit of damage. And again, some interesting driving going on here. There's I think it was Rob Noxious who looked a little bit, getting a little bit hairy, a little bit wide. Wants to make an impression early doors by the looks of it. Some yellow flags out. Yellow flags. So 67 car, which is Kenny. He must have taken a spin. He's off the track. So he's dropped down a few places into last place now. Saying that, yeah, he's massively into last place as we. So we're going to come up to the 13 car, which is Mr. CJ. He's leading a long line of different cars here. W is really pushing to get past us. They nearly have a collision there. Very, very racy from W. And P7, which is great for him. He's currently in P10. This will be a best finish for W. Finishing 12 in race 1 and P8 in race 2. So he's looking really, really racy as well. So very, very close in this middle pack. There's a few cars coming through here. So we've got Mr. CJ, we've got W, we've got Jinx, all nice and close together. As the leaders are having a nice little breakaway. Ron, the 997 car, so we've got a 1 second lead on Gunnar Gamble, who's in P2. Bubbles in P3. They all race leaders, as it were. They've got breakaway pack. The number 34 car, the wall, seemed to retire to the pits and back out again. So he's got a lot of catching up to do. So we're just ticking down to 8 minutes gone in this 1 hour race. So some good lap times going in, to be honest. It's you know, obviously we see Ron there leading the way. Getting some interesting figures. So he's a second and a half now in front of Gunnar Gamble. So we're going to look down, have a little look at Bubbles at the moment, who's nice and close behind Gunnar Gamble. And side by side here, as the camera changes, someone's gone off. Gunnar Gamble seemed to have gone a long way off track there. So that's not going to do him any favours. That's P2 that is swapped. So P2. Gunnar Gamble and Bubbles swapping positions. Not sure if there's contact there or not. We've got very, very close indeed. Side by side, and suddenly Gunnar Gamble has gone off, so he's got a little bit of catching up to do. Plenty of time in this race to do that. So we're going to slide down the pack. Eduardo. I thought it was a little bit closer. He seems to be a little bit further away than the timing line suggests, so there may be an issue there. But we'll flick to Jinxie, who is getting past W here. So as they approach this big right hand hairpin, we'll just have a little look at them as they come through. A nice big right hand bend, then on the power for the left hander towards the start finish line. W just out in front in the pink livery. Jinxie just behind, getting pretty good time in. It's going to be his fastest lap of the race, I believe, as we see him come over the start finish line. Puts in fastest lap for 1:31.4. Just sitting nicely behind. It's probably the closest out of the lot at the moment. 600ths of a second behind, so it's now 200ths of a second, so getting really, really close here. On the grass goes W, and I think Jinxie's going to have the move done here in very shortly. So as he comes down the inside on the grass, contact there with W. Did they both come out alive on that one, as it were? W was dropped right back now, and now he's under pressure from Kenny. So Jinx off the track now. I think he's trying to give that position back. I think that's what he's trying to do, which is good racing because he made contact. So very, very good racing from Jinxie. I'm very pleased to see that. We don't often see that. Normally it goes to stewards and an inquiry comes down. So he's letting back and he's going to go again. Like all good racers do. And he's taking the inside line. Will W cut back? No. And he's going to lose out to Kenny here, W. So Kenny's now taking that opportunity to come up the inside. They're going to be side by sides. Not quite enough power by Kenny, but Kenny might have the line if he cuts back on W onto the power here as they come across the start-finish line. Kenny trying to get that. He's come really wide. He's come to that right-hand bend to see just behind. They're side by side here, these two, which is working wonders for Jinxie because he's now getting in front, getting away. A bit of oversteer there for Kenny has caused him a little bit of an issue. He's now sitting behind. A little bit of oversteer as he came out of that corner, just where the back keeps on coming round as you pull away and get on the throttle. So good bit of racing here from these two. The rest of the pack seems to be fairly spread out at this stage. These two are certainly the closest time-wise. W very, very close with Kenny here. 400th of a second between these two. So as we're watching Kenny here on the back of W, these two fighting is going to give Jinx... Jinxie seems to have dropped behind, so he must have had an issue there. So he must have gone off or something because he was in front and now he's behind. So Jinxie's had a little bit of an issue. Eduardo's next in the firing line for W. So again, over the start-finish line. They seem to be having a nice little battle, and you know, with this little battle going on, of course, be better for the people further up the pack. People like Rob Noxious, for instance, with a four-way battle effectively. I'm not really sure Jinx is class in that battle, even though, well, there seems to be something going on there as well, because I think it's Kenny might have gone off. Someone's gone off for certain, and might be W, to be honest. The 67 car of Kenny seems to be further back, going a lot slower than everyone else, so there may have been a collision of some sort there. Not really sure. So a little bit more space between Eduardo and W slightly behind him. 200th of a second behind. Kenny just behind them there. Again, it's all changing. Jinxie's gone in front, so again, there must have been some sort of collision of some sort of issue between a few of them, and Jinxie's gone from behind the whole pack to right in front. So it definitely seems to be happening at the back of the pack rather than at the front of the pack. But hey, there we have it. There we have it. The other thing to think about was obviously the 96 car of Normac, who's the back marker. Will be slowing up some cars up in front of him. So the 69 car of Gunnar Gamble approaching behind. He wants to get past Normac very, very quickly. But we're still watching these guys, watching Eduardo at the moment. Jinxie seems to be getting a little bit more distance as he just crossed the line for Sex 1. 14 seconds behind Rob Noxious. So we see the timing lines as they come over the line here. So Eduardo, 3-second gap away from Jinx. W just behind again. W has seemed to have gone off. He's not having an easy time there at that in sector 2. 45 minutes remaining of this race. There's 5 minutes left until the pit window opens. So that'll be an interesting moment for us to see. So a lot of space opening up now. W a lot further back. So probably the closest sort of battle going on must be these two, Beast and Rob Noxious, with their battered looking cars. Both in Ferraris. Looking heavily damaged on the front there. Rob Noxious obviously had some contact earlier on. But these two are probably the closest at this moment in time. One thing to mention is that Gunnar Gamble has successfully passed the back marker of Normac. So that's good to see. It gives them a chance to work on some lap times here. They've got a little bit of space between them. You can see Gunnar Gamble here. You can probably see the back of Bubbles. He's not going to be really pushing hard to overtake at the moment. Now, with 3.5 minutes until this pit window opens, this is where, as we see, I think it was Normac who's just dived into the pits there. I don't know whether that's going to be an issue or whether he's retiring, but we will soon find out. We'll just have a little look at our leader, Ron, as he's driving through. So, drive-through penalty has been awarded to Jinx for track limit. That consists going off the. It's got 3 laps to serve that, and that doesn't include his mandatory pit either. So he will have to have that drive-through. That means he has to go all the way through the pits at pit speed as well. So there's a limit on the speed that you can go in the pits for 80 kilometers an hour. So he's going to have to serve that at some point, which is not ideal for him. Not ideal at all. Not what you need at this stage of the race, but it is what it is. He has to serve it. That is mandatory. 3 laps to complete that as well. So as we see, leader coming over the start-finish line. Another lap and a half before that pit window is going to open, with just over 2 minutes until that's coming up. Looks like Normac, our 96 car, isn't going back unless he's doing some major work to the car to fix that. But we will just wait and see. So, a lot of space between each car at the moment. It's nice to see the map because we can see what's going on, as there's no real sort of challenges going on at this moment in time. It's to see the spaces between. So we've had someone else come into the pits, the 189, so that will be the drive-through penalty for Jinx, so he's serving that drive-through penalty. As we said, he's going to have to drive through that pit lane. Doesn't have to stop, he just has to drive through it all. Oh, there he goes. Comes out the other side. Oh, nearly has a collision there. I believe that was W that he just came out behind. So that's going to bring some interest for us now. As they're just crossing the line for Sector 1. That's 0.3 of a second. So this gives us a little bit of something to watch now. As the pit window is opening in 30 seconds time. So as Jinxie's coming up the inside here of W, and has got the job done nice and easily. That was a little bit easier than what he probably anticipated, and I reckon that is the corner that most of these guys are going to pick up drive-through penalties. It's a tight line there. They've got to keep the wheels inside the line, the white line. So the pit window is now open. The pit lane is always open as race control, but the pit window is open. So one mandatory pit stop. So we're just the map as well. As a few cars, Eduardo is the approach that pit lane. We'll see if anyone jumps in. So it may be worth or W, one of these two, to jump in, and W is the first one in. There he goes. So the first one to serve that pit window. I would have done it. W's done there. See if jump in or not, and do the opposite. So first one in is W. So just have a look down the pack, see if anyone else jumps into the pit. So again, we've got the wall. Racing yesterday, the wall. Racing again today in the Porsche, however you like to call it. Looking very slick. We're going to go to the top of the pack. Bubbles 2 seconds behind the leader, Ron, who's putting in some very good lap times here. So just watching that pit lane as a few cars are coming past, see if anyone else jumps in. So you're seeing W he's taking a rather long time in the pit, so 30-second mandatory pit stop, and it seems to be a little bit longer than the time as he gets going again. So he's out and back on track. Normac is back out on track, and oh no, W has just picked himself up a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. What you don't need, especially after the serving time in the pits and getting one over one of your rivals, Jinx, after he served a pit lane drive-through penalty for track limits. W picks one up as well, as we see Ron has dived into the pits to serve his mandatory pit stop, so he's gone in quite early compared to the others. Obviously, that could work in his favour. The usual tactics are either go in first or go in last. Just do the opposite the rest of your competitors are. You've got to think about track position here. So when obviously you come into the pits, as the 28 car of Beast does, about where you're going to come out. So that's obviously the most important thing, where you're going to come out. Ideally, you want to come out having a lot of space around you. Not always possible, and not always possible to determine that. Obviously, drivers are going to be... and again, we've got someone else picking up a drive-through penalty. I know he's just it's just saying he's got 2 laps remaining into where he has to take that. So he's got 2 laps to take that drive-through penalty. He wants to put in a really quick lap here. W get some space between him and the 21 car Eduardo, who's a lap in front, as it were, but don't want to come out in traffic essentially. So as we see Beast leaving the pits here, and stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So we have got a few issues in this pit lane. We've got W picking up a drive-through penalty, a stop-go penalty for Beast. That essentially means he's got to come into the pits, he's got to stop for 30 seconds, and then he can go again. So a more serious offence than W's drive-through penalty. So not good there for Beast. So not a very good start for these two. Ron managed to escape any sort of penalties in the pits. The benefit for us is that it brings people out closer together that they're having the pits and when they come out of the pits. So just gonna have a look at the 89 car, which is Jinx. He's got the wall very close behind him, so he's done a lot of catching up the wall, which is good to see. Only 2 seconds behind Jinx now. So see if any of these dive into the pit lane. No, they're both staying out by the looks of it. As Bubbles, your leader, has dived into the pit lane. That obviously means wants to put a little bit of distance between them. So W has gone through the pits. He served his drive-through penalty. As we've got Gunnar Gamble following Bubbles in. So this is interesting from Gunnar Gamble. That to me would suggest he's quite happily sitting behind Bubbles. Normally you do something distance. The Beast has gone into the pits. He's going to serve his stop-go penalty. So as we said, into the pits, then stops for 30 seconds and goes again. So this is your leader, off-cut. Obviously, provisionally, he's still got to serve the pit window, as it were. As we see, Bubbles is just about to come out of the pit. So let's see how we can get out. Who's going to get out behind the 997 car of Ron? So Ron's gone past. He's going to be effectively P1. Timings will update as they come over the Sector 1, which is now. So as they come past there, so Ron goes into 4th place, which is effectively P1. But it brings them nice and close. So the 46 car, they're about 5 seconds behind. So Bubbles is 5 seconds behind Ron. Obviously the top 3, it does say they're leading, of course. But obviously they have still got to pit. So as I mentioned to you before the start of the race, I'm just going to watch Kenny here. He's nice and close behind Bubbles. Again, Kenny's still got to pit, so he's going to be a little bit further back than what his position suggests at this moment in time, but getting rather close in behind. Ideally, doesn't want to cause Bubbles too many issues. That's not his. They're not racing each other effectively. Kenny's still got to go into the pits. It may be beneficial for him to dive into the pits now, but we will see. Gets him away from any other sort of traffic at this stage. Just see if he stays out or comes in. Nope, he's staying out. He's going to stay behind Bubbles, so gives him a little bit of traffic in front of him. They've got 2 minutes. So still quite a lot of people left to pit. I know Offcut and Nuthbit will be trying to get as much time as they possibly can between themselves and Ron, who's effectively the race leader at this stage. But we see Offcut here, he's getting held up by Mr. CJ a little bit here. Wants to get past Mr. CJ, will hopefully be moving out the way. You should be getting the blue flag there. It should be allowing Offcut through. I can see the blue flags are out, so he can't say he hasn't seen it, because if we can see it, he can see it. Again, more blue flags there. He's got to let Offcut pass. I think he's slowing down a little bit there. Not the line that I would have taken, but that's okay. He's let him through, so he's done the right thing, which is good to see. So Offcut is your race leader still. Kenny again, nice and close behind Bubbles. Still got to jump into the pits. We've got, so it's 11 minutes left of this pit window. I believe I said 2 minutes earlier. It's still got another 10 minutes of that. So 11 minutes left of this pit window. So still got time, Kenny, to jump into the pits. As we see here, we've got 5 cars still left to go into the pits. It says 6 on there, but obviously Normac is in the pits at this moment in time. So as we see, I've seen the wall here getting really close behind Jinx, so it could be a little battle coming on here. So let's have a look. See, we're gonna have a watch of the wall, see if he, well, there we go, that settles it. Jinx has jumped into the pits. The wall's still got to have his mandatory pit stop, so a couple of good laps here. Get some time between him and Jinx. So Jinx obviously 30 seconds in the pit lane. Not that you'll make up 30 seconds, but when halfway mark in the race, as you would have heard that, but as the wall is coming round, he's going to be thinking he wants a couple of good lap times, get in front of Jinx when he comes to pit. So obviously Jinx, you'll be coming out at a different stage now, but when the wall jumps into the pit lane, he wants to come out in front of Jinx. So they're still effectively racing at each other at this stage. So nicely spread out at the moment. Not too many major battles going on that I can see. I could be wrong. As we watch the wall here, he's got the sharp right hand hairpin here. Approaches the left hand hairpin, and we'll see if he dives into the pits or not now. I would think he would stay out for another lap, seeing as it's clear in front of him, but we will see. Yeah, he's staying out. It's a good decision there, I believe, from the wall. He's got lots and lots of space in front of him, so still 4 drivers left to pit with their orange number 1s next to their names. So 21 car is off the track, so let's have a look, see what this Eduardo, he's disappeared now, so he's retired from the race. So Eduardo is now retired. So I've got past Mr. CJ. I remember them doing that a little while back. We've got the 997 car of Ron coming past the start finish line. So we see Jinx just behind. He's a lap behind, but then Bubbles just behind Jinx there. So nice little bit of buffer. See Kenny dive into the pit. So he's having his mandatory pit stop, leaving 3 left to do. So obviously Jinx between Ron and Bubbles. So yes, Jinx will get the blue flag, but likely he's going to hold up Bubbles a little bit, which is beneficial for Ron. As we've seen coming through, effectively your race leader at this stage. Offcut may say otherwise. He's obviously trying to put the best lap times he possibly can in there. Offcut currently sitting P4 in this championship. Hasn't had a podium yet in this championship, so he would want to make sure he gets some good lap times in, so he can, as we see him dive into the pits now. So brave call there, and is Nafbit following him? No, Nafbit is staying out, so Nafbit becomes your race leader at this stage. Obviously still needs to pit. We've got just under 7 minutes now left of this pit window. So Nafbit in the Aston Martin, orange Aston Martin, very nice looking vehicle. As he crosses the sector 1 top midline, which is just around this left hand bend, out the chicane, there we go. So he's your race leader. Let's see the gap between him and Ron. As Ron approaches right about now, we will see the times. 17 seconds. So obviously Ron is effectively P1 at this stage, with Nafbit the only driver needing to dive into the pits at some point. So yeah, it's going to be Nafbit's going to have to put some decent lap times in now. The unfortunate for him is that Ron has got some clean air in front of him. Well, as we see the 189 car Jinx, so 46 car, so Bubbles has gone past Jinx. So again, that's not good for Nafbit. He would have hoped that he would have been slowed up a little bit. And Gunnar Gamble is just behind there. So it looks like Nafbit, when he does come to pit, maybe a little bit further back. He's staying out. He's still got 5 minutes left of this pit window, but he's staying out as we speak. So that's going to be interesting to watch for where he's going to come out. Obviously 30 seconds he's got to serve effectively. Nafbit currently P3 in the championship standings. Again, he hasn't got a podium either in this championship, but looking very, very sharp here, and he's going to want to get out in front of Gunnar Gamble if he can. That's going to be his target as Gunnar Gamble crosses that line. No, he's going to be just behind. Is he going to be behind Offcut as well? We'll have a look now. Ooh, so that's going to be close between those two. If I click onto timetables, hopefully see the gap between them all effectively. So Ron is 16 seconds behind Nafbit. Bubbles is 20 seconds behind. Remember, it's a 30-second pit window. So as they cross over the timing lines, as we see here, 28 seconds there. So it could be Nafbit comes out in 4th position there if he goes into the pits at some point soon. It could sneak in front of Offcut. Going to be important for him. That's what he's going to want to do. He wants to get out in P4, and then he can use the rest of the race to push. So as I said, I've only got the one driver who's going to leave it to the very last minutes to serve his mandatory pit stop. I've lost a couple of drivers. So we're down to 11. So coming round, the drivers are fairly spaced out. Bubbles is catching Ron though. Is in 4 seconds behind now, so it doesn't seem too close, but he is catching gradually. Like I said, we've still got over 22 minutes left of this race, so if he's slowly breaking down those times, then he will be catching him in a, well, as I said, he's gone under 4 seconds now. He's going 200, about 200 seconds, 200th of a second quicker. Put your teeth in, please, Richard. It's going to take him a few laps to catch up, but we've got plenty of time for him to do that. So that'll be nearing the end of the race. Mistakes can still happen. That's the beauty of this sort of racing. As we see Ron come over the start finish line, Bob just behind. Sector 1 line coming up, but it looks like they're going to be even closer. We go the timing line as they came over the start finish line, 3.4, and as on complete 3.1, so he's going even quicker now. So he's even quicker than 200 seconds. We're going good 300ths of a second quicker now. So this is going to be interesting. We're talking a couple of laps. Just having a look at the back of the pack where the Beast is very close in behind Jinx. So we've got this battle back on again. So as we have a little watch of MX3 Beast coming through on Jinx. He's just setting himself up for an overtake here. He's come wide, taking a different line, drops back down the inside. Can he get round? Doesn't look like he's managed there. Not the best camera angle to see there, but now he's got the line, and they're side by side here. He's going round to the left though. He's got the outside line and then back onto the inside, and he's got that inside line for the hairpin. Jinx is going to try the cutback. Had a little correction there on the exit of there, so Beast weaving around, doesn't want to move too much, keep your line. It looks like he's got the job done. So Jinx, he's dropped back behind Beast. Great bit of driving there by Beast. Fair play to him. Jinx isn't going to give up without a fight. He's going to put it back in. He's going to want to reclaim that place. So a little bit of battle coming on here as we see Bubbles move 2.76 seconds behind the leader Ron. So that's going to be a battle to watch in a couple of laps. But oh, if Beast goes wide, this is going to give the opportunity for Jinx, and he comes past. Oh, so all the hard work Beast has done, he's just giving it away again. Looked like he may have got a little bit of understeer as approaching that bend, that right-hand bend, which meant that Jinx could sneak through again. So they've swapped positions. Having a look in at the timing lines as we come over the start-finish line very, very shortly. So just keeping an eye out. We're going to have a little look at Bubbles and doing a little bit of his lap time. He's the closest, as we can imagine, as we're coming over the start finish. So just going to drop back again 200 to the second quicker. Bubbles is going, so he's getting closer and closer as we watch Rob Noxious here. It is very, very damaged Ferrari, but he's putting the pressure on Kenny. 700th of a second behind, so good little battle here going on here for P7. Coming around to the right hand bend. We've got another right hand bend coming up as well. So in the braking zone, off the power, onto the power for a nice long straight. As Rob Noxious cuts the corner, that'll be track limits. Gets a little bit of oversteer, and he's going to lose a place to, well, it's Ron, that's your race leader. I believe he was trying to get out of his way. Hopefully he's got the blue flag. And we see Bubbles here is under 2 seconds now. So this is going to get very, very close as we approach the start-finish line. So right-hand hairpin then goes into the left-hand hairpin here at Donington Park. So round the left-hand hairpin. This is going to be very, very close to maybe just over a second, I would say. So Ron over the start-finish line. Bubbles, there we go, 1.7. He is definitely going a lot quicker now. This is going to be a very, very interesting part of the race coming right up. So just watching Bubbles as he's putting in some great lap times at the moment. So let's see if we can see 127.8 is his best so far. If he keeps them up, certainly will be pushing on for that race lead. Obviously Bubbles sitting P6 at the moment in the championship, but did not finish in round 1. Obviously cost him dear. That's 0 points as it were, but he got maximum points in round 2, finished P1. So he's got a taste for winning. Slightly slower this lap so far, but as he just goes wide there off the side of the track, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time as well. Hopefully he's not listening to my commentary. That means that'll be a commentator's curse, and Rob Noxious wants to unlap himself here by Bubbles. I would ideally want to stay out of the way as drive-through penalty again for Jinx. Going off the track too many times, so not what Jinx wanted. That's his second drive-through penalty. The Beast is getting very close to Jinxie as well. So here we go, and he's gone past Jinx. So Jinx obviously gone off the track, picked up a drive-through penalty, which is going to serve now as well. So Jinx serving his drive-through penalty means Beast goes into P9. The wall is quite a distance behind as he comes over the start-finish line as well. And just going to watch Jinx here because he actually picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And he seems to be doing okay at the moment. So Jinx back out. He's at the back of the pack now. The wall has gained a place. It was gifted a place by Jinx for his track limit. So let's just see at the front of the pack, 3.49 seconds now. Bubbles has slipped down a little bit, which is not ideal, and he's actually given Gunnar Gamble the taste to put the pressure on. 8 seconds, obviously the gap. We're into the last 15 minutes of this race, and Ron will breathe a little sigh of relief. It's not all over, don't get me wrong. There is going to be a lot of pressure on him. Obviously Bubbles, again, he's just cut down that time. 2.63. He's just that one little mistake could cost you. 30 laps done so far. Ron, our race leader, 30 laps he's completed. So it's obviously a lot of concentration time. And I remember speaking about this yesterday on the ACC for the PCs, that you've got to concentrate for the whole race. And all it takes is one corner, a lapse of concentration, and you could lose out very, very quickly. So I just want to see the timing lines. 2.194, so he is getting quicker. He's putting in better lap times. He's getting closer and closer as we go. Gunnar Gamble still the just over 8 seconds away, so not closing too much. Nothing for Bubbles to worry about, but I don't think Bubbles is going to be looking backwards at this moment in time. I think he's got his eyes firmly fixed on Ron in front of him, and I think he's going to be even closer now than that 2.194 seconds that it suggests. As he comes here over the start-finish line, 1.26. So by my calculations, he's going to be right on the back of Ron this lap, to the point of actually overtaking him at some point on this lap, judging by the lap times last lap. Good 1 second. There we go, 1 second away now. So we're going to watch these race leaders at the moment as they are so close. I can see Kenny is still close to Rob Noxious there, 1.5 seconds. Bubbles getting it done here. Got 12.5 minutes of the race remaining, so plenty of time to put that pressure on. And I know for certain he is going to put that pressure on. Ron is firmly fixed behind him. What's going on behind him? And you know, as a driver, you want to be looking ahead. You want to be thinking about that next overtake. And obviously, if you're leading the pack, you're not necessarily going to be thinking of overtaking because you're leading the way. There's no one to overtake effectively. In hindsight, obviously you're going to have back markers that you're going to come up against, but Ron is certainly going to be looking behind him to see Bubbles right in his rear view mirrors as they come round across the start finish line. We'll see the timings here. Let's have a look. 32 laps complete by Ron, 1.25, so slightly slower. I think Ron will be really concerned, is probably not a word I'd use, but he will be really cautious if that comes under a second. So Ron really needs to concentrate on what he's doing, and there we go. Bubbles is quicker in sector 1. He's a 100th of a second quicker, so in that first sector. It seems like sector 1 and sector 3, Bubbles is really quick. It looks like sector 2 might be going to Ron, but as we speak, they're getting even closer. You can see there that they are really nice and close now. As they come over the timing line now, under a second now, 900th of a second. So this is going to be close. I'm looking forward to seeing the timing screen as we come over the start finish line. These two are going to be very, very close. It is tight for this race lead. Gunnar Gamble is going slightly quicker. Nothing that's going to impede these two here though. So This is a real battle. So over the timing line for the start-finish line, we will have a look. And we've cut it down more. We're talking half a second quicker here. Bubbles is going. So this is going to be a real battle now. So we're going to watch these two. Under half a second. So can they get this job done? Can Bubbles get this job done? Or is Ron going to fight this? And he certainly will fight it, but they are so close now. So this is going to be a real battle for the race lead. So a little bit wide there for Bubbles. Just gets onto the grass a little bit as you saw that puff of dust. So that's going to give Ron slight advantage, but Bubbles is hot on his heels. And again, slightly wide again. Just a little bit of time. Into the second gear as they push on out. Up to third, up to fourth. For the long straight, going to hit fifth. Are they getting up to sixth as well? No, it drops down. Left hand bend into the right hand in the chicane. I think Ron slightly pushed the time a little bit. Best time for Bubbles of a 1:27.8. Great bit of racing here from these two. This is fantastic for the neutral. Bubbles just slightly slower on this lap so far. You see the timing line here as we come round the start finish line. Yeah, it's 700th of a second now, so really close. Again, sector 1, Bubbles is putting great times in, and again he is so close behind here. And a great sector 1 as they come over there. So yeah, just under 600ths of a second. So seems to be sector 2 that he's just slightly getting it wrong, as we see one just touch the grass slightly. So that's giving Bubbles a slight opportunity here as they get really close now. We've got a right hand bend here. We drop right down, get into second on the power out of it. Then a nice long straight. Get the top speed going as they cross over the sector line. Yeah, so still 500th of a second. So again, still really nice and close. Good battle from these two. We're just going to stay with these two, looking down the rest of the pack. Nicely spaced out. But Rob Knox just getting close. Further down the field. Currently battling for P8 with MX3 Beast. I'm not going to leave the leaders because I know for certain as soon as I leave them, it will certainly change hands. But I know for certain Rob Noxious is nice and close, and is slightly further away now, so he may have had a slight issue there as they cross the start-finish line. Yeah, just Beast is slightly pulling away there, but Bubbles even closer now. They're hot on the heels of Ron, so just going to stick and watch these two for the moment. Just as I help myself to a drink, we've just got to realise that I'm on my own. 6 minutes left of this race. Obviously, we had the 15-minute qualifying, hour-long race. Here we go. So, 200th of a second, the difference now between Bubbles and Ron. Bubbles comes wide. He's going to try a little cutback here for the sharp right-hander. Sticking in the slipstream there. A little bit of dirty air, but he will hopefully get a run on him. As we come around the left-hander to the start-finish line, these two are neck and neck, and can he get a good run out of here? So he's in the slipstream. He's going to sit behind and then come wide. Ron trying to cut off the inside line, doesn't want to give the inside away. Bubbles comes down the inside, doesn't want to get that one wrong. Sits behind Ron. Doesn't want any contact here. You know, if they take each other out, They're both losing out on points, and we've still got a long season. This is only round 3 out of 8, but these two want to be by the top. Of course, Bubbles wants to go for the win. He's not just going to let Ron have the win, but putting the pressure on. Now he's trying to make a move. Really close, taking a slightly different line. Is that to put off Ron? Is that to put him off his line? Or is he genuinely trying to make an effort here? So, Ron's cut that corner slightly. He's got to be very, very careful. He doesn't want to pick up a drive-through penalty track limit. He doesn't want to take that corner too tightly. He may get away with that there. But some great racing from these two. Still nice and close. Yeah, Ron's got to be very, very careful in taking that scenic route, as it were, that tight line. Doesn't want to do that too many times because he will get a penalty, as we've seen today, as Jinxie has seen today, a drive-through penalty for track limits. And as I say that, that's exactly what Rob Noxious gets. He gets a drive-through penalty for track limits, so he's going to have to serve that. He might as well come in and get it done. That will put him further back, probably not to the back of the pack. He'll only lose 1 place to the wall as he comes into the pits and has to serve that drive-through penalty. So as we watch these front two again, another great sector by Bubbles. That first sector is proving to be his strong point. Really nice and close, right on the tail of the Lexus of Ron. These two are neck and neck. Perfect temperatures for racing here, as we see Bubbles has got round Ron. A little bit of movement there from Ron, just avoids contact. It's actually a good bit of driving. Very, very racy, these two. 37 laps done. Ron's going to really put the pressure back now. He's actually quite strong in Sector 2 and Sector 3, so this could be an opportunity for him now. As he comes side by side up the inside. Cut back from Bubbles. He's going to have a better line here. He's going to have the pace out of the corner. And that may have lost Ron some time there. As we come back over the start-finish line. So Bubbles is now our race leader. He has been putting some faster lap times in than what Ron's been doing, but had to get past him. So Ron's now got to get racy. He wants to take that back. He will not want to finish as P2 after leading this race pretty much from the start. Obviously, there was that time in the pit window. The pit window being open, but we've got 2 minutes left of this race, so we'll probably get another lap in, or we'll get another lap in after this. But there's only 1 more lap to go after this lap, so we've got 1.5 laps left. So if Ron wants to do it, he has to get on and do it. And he's probably not going to have much opportunity. That's a better corner there from him. As we're looking further down the pack, not too many cars nice and close. Just to go through your order, so Bubbles is your race leader, 38 laps done. We'll finish on probably 39 laps will be the final. So watching him come around the corner, so this is going to be interesting. So Mr. CJ is in front of him, obviously further down the pack. Drive-through penalty track limits for the 67 car Kenny, so he's got to pull into the pits. Rob Noxious has gone into the pits. Will that be a retiree there for Rob Noxious? That may be a retiring, unless he's got a problem he's going to fix. Kenny's got to serve a drive-through penalty, and Bubbles is on the final lap. So 39 laps complete. So this will be the final lap, as we've got 50 seconds left. So Ron is now over a second. So Bubbles has just got to get round. He doesn't have to put a fastest lap in. Mr. CJ should really move out the way. He'll be getting blue flags, as I can see blue flags out there on by the stewards. Kenny, sorry, his pick up at any now. Bubbles comes over the sector 2 line, and Mr. CJ's moved out of the way, hopefully for both. And he has good driving there. Yeah, still over a second. So Ron's got to really push now, and it seems like he's put the pressure on, so he's going to try and dive up the inside. Contact, and I think Ron has done it. No, they're side by side. This is going to be interesting. Let's have a watch of these two coming around the final bend here. Right-hander, Ron's cut back up the inside. Who's going to get it away? Slide from Bubbles, and that's just cost him there. And I think Bubbles has won that in the end. I think Ron actually gave him that position back right at the end there, just because of the contact on the final lap. But what great racing from these two. Absolutely fantastic. Hats off to you, Bubbles and Ron. Fair play to you. And Ron doing the right thing of letting Bubbles cross the line. Superb bit of racing. So P1 and your race winner goes to Bubbles. P2 goes to Ron on the podium. P3 Gunnar Gamble gets a podium. And that's his second podium of this championship. P4 to Offcott. P5 Nafbit. 6 is Mr. CJ. 7 is Beasts. 8 is Kenny. 9 the Wall. 10 Jinx. And 11 maybe a DNF for Rob Noxious. What a race. What a race. And Bubbles a well-deserved race winner. But massive shout out to Ron as well for some excellent work. He led most of the way, and Bubbles was just getting closer and closer, and in the end Ron couldn't hold him off. Bubbles got the job done, but fair play to Ron for really pushing the pressure back on and nearly taking it on those final couple of corners. But absolutely fantastic racing from all of these drivers. 60 minutes of racing completed. Fantastic work. A great race between all of these guys. 127.8 Bubbles completed there. As he stops and returns to the pits, we'll return to the garage. That is your race complete for today here at Donington Park. Congratulations to all the drivers for a good race. Thank you for tuning in, and see you again next week, where we will be heading over to Spa. So next weekend we'll be at Spa. So guys, thank you very much. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for listening.